So my name is Jeanne Pernaut. I'm in charge of sustainable development and technical standardization at ILNAS, and I'm joined today by Anna Santorbano, project officer at ANEC. So she's closely involved in the operational implementation of Luxembourg standardization strategy. And so we will start with a short overview of ILNAS, ANEC, IEG, the roles, the missions, the scope of our activities. Then we will introduce some key concepts of standards and standardization. And in the third part, we will present the key findings on energy efficiency. And at the end of the session, we will have a little quiz with some Q&A. So first, what is ILNAS and what is ANEC IEG? ILNAS stands for Luxembourg Institute of Standardization, Accreditation, Safety and Quality of Products and Services. And it is the national public administration in charge of standardization and several related missions, operating under the authority of the Minister of the Economy. And ILNAS is structured into 5 departments: metrology, accreditation, market surveillance, digital trust, and our department, which is standardization. As of now, we are in March, and in March we are 62 members in total at ILNAS. In the standardization department, we are a team of 8 people. And our team is supported by Economic Interest Group, ANEC, which acts as ILNAS operational standardization platform. And ANEC consists of 5 staff members. So our national standardization strategy is built around 4 pillars, but globally we have one core idea, which is technical standardization is an inclusive tool for performance and excellence serving the economy. And to develop this core idea, we have these 4 pillars. So the first pillar focuses on the effective use of relevant technical standards by every organization, which can be public, private. And the second pillar, it aims to have some involvement of national stakeholders in the standardization process. So not just only use the process, but also implement the standards. So it can shape really the market. And the third pillar is dedicated to excellence by strengthening the active participation of the national standards body in European and international standardization organizations. And finally, the fourth pillar, which is really important, it is to develop also some research and education regarding standardization, because the idea is to develop skills, culture for long-term capacity building. So as you can imagine, as we are not a lot at ILNAS, we can't be everywhere in every technical committees, in every work. So we have to focus on main specific sectors. So for this reason, ILNAS, and together with the Ministry of Economy, we identified 3 priority sectors, which are construction, information and communication technologies, and aerospace. Because the idea is to see also the sectors where you can deliver the greatest added value for Luxembourg. And in addition to these sectors, you have 2 major cross-cutting domains, which are sustainability and conformity. And for each sectors and domains, we develop a dedicated policy framework that guides concrete action plans. In the domain of sustainability, the current policy which will change in 1 year, is organized in 11 thematics areas. So these themes are presently under review, but however, energy efficiency, for sure, it will remain the priority for ILNAS. And to highlight and promote these various standardization-related themes, last year, October 2025, we published a comprehensive overview, so a standardization analysis, which really develop which presents the different committees and the different standards on sustainability topics, which with also energy efficiency as a focus. So before going into the details of energy efficiency, I will just rapidly explain what standards are. So when we talk about standards, we often think of something really abstract, complicated, but at the end of the day, standards are really everywhere in our daily lives, from safety signs to paper formats, paper A4 that you use maybe every day, screws or payment cards also that you use every day. These are standards, and it ensures at the end of the day compatibility, safety, efficiency, and trust for the market. And we can have also this same logic for energy efficiency standards. And yeah, what do we mean by standardization? Standardization refers to development of standards of voluntary technical or quality specifications. So it can apply for some products, but also services, processes. And as I said, it ensures consistency, reliability, and comparability. So standards are not, it's not the same as a legislation. Standards are voluntary by nature, but they often play a key role in supporting legislation or certification schemes or good market practices. And they are built on core principles such as transparency, openness, consensus, and independence from special interests. Why they are based on these principles? Because they are created through some dedicated technical committees. And these technical committees, they bring you, they are composed by different experts from different sectors: industry, government, academia, civil society. I mean, everyone can participate if they are in private or public organization. And each committee focuses on a specific domain, like, for example, energy efficiency. And in these committees, you have the possibility to identify market needs, you draft technical specification, and then you reach consensus with the group to have a final content of standards. So these works follow really structured rules to ensure this neutrality and high technical quality. So with this common understanding in mind, I now hand over to Anna. She will present you the key findings related to energy efficiency.
Okay, so hello also from my side, and thank you for participating, even though in Luxembourg we have such nice weather today. I will try to give you a short introduction into our sustainability or standardization analysis, and specifically the part on energy efficiency and management. So starting with the report on standardization and sustainable development. So in order to support the national stakeholders, ILNAS, together with the economic interest group ANEC, has published last year in October an analysis on technical standardization of sustainable development topics that are particularly relevant to Luxembourgish context and related legislation. The document covers different aspects such as the functioning of technical standardization in general, and particularly its relation to the SDGs. While in the third chapter of the report, there's a focus on 8 different sustainability-related topics, and of course, they're linked to standardization. And those 8 topics had previously been identified in the National Standardization Policy for Sustainable Development. As you see on the slide, those 8 different topics include environmental management, energy efficiency and management, which we will focus on today, then circular economy, sustainable construction, hydrogen technologies, sustainable mobility, green ICT, and e-waste. Furthermore, the report explains how to use and how to access standards, as well as how to contribute to standardization activities as a national actor. On the slide, you also see the QR code to download the standardization analysis, should you be interested in accessing more details and information on any of the mentioned topics. And also I want to mention in advance that today I will give you insights into the topic energy efficiency and management and standardization. But however, we don't have the time to go into all the details that are covered within the report. So feel free after the webinar also to have a look at the report or to participate in end of April in our in-person information session on the field of standardization and energy efficiency for more information. So each topic covered in the report is structured into different aspects or sub-chapters. So first of all, we provide you information on the background. So what are we talking about? What is, in this case, energy efficiency and its general context? And then what are policies and strategies on European as well as national level related to the topics? Then what are the legal frameworks that support the implementation of those policies and strategies? And what are persisting challenges? So what issues should be addressed and how does standardization support the tackling of these challenges? In the case of energy efficiency, of course, technical standards provide consistent and internationally recognized tools that are accessible to all, and that we can support to or provide support to all organizations independent from sector or size to implement credible and effective energy efficiency practices. So to introduce the topic of energy efficiency, we first have to remember that we have one major challenge. So we are highly dependent on reliable and affordable energy supply for our current socio-economic well-being system development. But, and especially fossil energy production and consumption is negatively impacting, among others, the environment and our climate. So that's why the United Nations included the Sustainable Development Goal 7 on affordable energy and clean energy for all as part of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which has been adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015. To achieve SDG 7 goal, the United Nations have in fact identified energy efficiency as one of the main levers to achieve the objective. And in fact, the United Nations Economic or Commission for Europe has been stating that in fact the cleanest and the most affordable source of energy is the one that has not been used. So here we are talking about energy savings, energy efficiency, and also the International Energy Agency has identified or has named energy efficiency the first fuel, the so-called first fuel in energy transitions. So when talking about energy efficiency, the concept is to either use less energy input for the same output or to increase the output while maintaining the same energy input. So that energy waste is minimized. And energy efficiency is generally the most cost-effective and quickest option to also reduce CO2 emissions and any other negative energy-related impacts. While also at a very large scale, energy efficiency improvements could even contribute to lower energy prices and improved energy security. especially through the lower energy demand that would result. Yeah, but however, also on the individual organizations and households level, those can benefit from energy efficiency improvements, which usually reduce the energy-related cost thanks to the achieved energy savings. When looking at the Paris Agreement and its goal to keep global warming to no more than 1.5 degrees Celsius, the UN project that emissions need to be reduced by 45% by 2030 and reach net zero by 2050. In order to be aligned with this pathway, at COP28 in 2003, a global pledge has been signed by over 100 countries, including Luxembourg, which aims at doubling the global average annual rate of energy efficiency improvement from roughly 2% to over 4% per year through 2030. This objective and pathway is also supported by the International Energy Agency, which provides on an annual basis an analysis on global energy efficiency developments, where energy intensity plays a very important role as a measure of energy efficiency. So global energy intensity would be the amount of energy that is needed to produce 1 unit of GDP. But this energy intensity could also be calculated, for example, on a country or regional level. The International Energy Agency, in fact, expects that accelerating energy efficiency improvements could contribute to more than 1/3 of all the CO2 emission reductions that are needed until 2030 in a pathway of aiming at net zero by 2050. But however, as aimed at in the COP28 Global Pledge, the progress on energy efficiency may have to double from currently about 2% of energy efficiency improvements to over 4% in order to reach net zero by 2050. Okay, so in the European context, there's a policy framework, of course, that aims at aligning those energy efficiency goals also on a European level. So first of all, we have, of course, the European Green Deal, which is based on the Paris Agreement's goal to keep global warming to a maximum 1.5 degrees Celsius, and which consists of a whole package of initiatives for the green transition. But we also have more specific policies, plans, strategies on EU level, among which, just to mention some examples, are, for example, the Energy Union Strategy, which was launched in 2015 in order to provide EU-wide, secure, sustainable, competitive, and affordable energy. Then we have the Repower EU plan, which was launched in 2022 in response to the global energy market challenges and disruptions at that time. And another example, more recent example, the Clean Industrial Deal, launched last year in order to improve the EU's industry's competitiveness and decarbonization, also including some energy efficiency aspects. For more examples, have a look at the standardization analysis report. We don't, again, have the time to go into all the details, but what all those different policies and plans have in common is that the focus is on a sustainable and resilient energy system. At a national level, the policy framework, and maybe one of the most important and comprehensive examples, is Luxembourg's PNEC for 2021 until 2030, which is the Plan National Intégré en matière d'énergie de climat, so the National Energy and Climate Plan of Luxembourg, and which is the national contribution to the EU Energy Union strategy that we just saw on the previous slide. Some examples of the Luxembourgish PNEC objectives for the year of 2030 include, first of all, the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions by 55%, then the achievement of 37% of renewable energy in final consumption, and an energy efficiency improvement of 42%, to mention some examples. Another national initiative is the Plan pour la reprise et la résilience, which is a plan that was initiated initially in 2021, has then been several times been revised to currently include one pillar also for the national implementation of the Repower EU plan. Again, on national level, the focus, is on sustainable and a resilient energy system. There are more national initiatives and policies also mentioned in the report, if you're interested. Now that we are talking about the national context, just a reminder that here I want to emphasize that even though we have achieved in recent years a slight decrease in energy, in final energy consumption, we are still highly dependent on oil products, and some main sectors of total final energy consumption in Luxembourg have been in 2023 sectors such as industry, transport, or residential and building sector. Okay, now to implement the different policies and strategies, of course, there's also the need to have a legislative framework that supports this implementation. So on the EU level, we have different pieces of legislation, including the revised directive on energy efficiency of 2023, or the regulation on the governance of the energy union and climate action, or as a third example, a regulation that sets a framework for energy labeling. And on the national side, we as well have different pieces of legislation to cover topics such as energy efficiency or energy labeling. During today's webinar, I just want to really briefly introduce you to maybe one of the most important pieces of legislation when it comes to energy efficiency, which is the Energy Efficiency Directive, which has initially been entered into force in 2012, has then been amended in 2018, while the current version in force is the revised directive on energy efficiency, which was first proposed in 2021 as part of the EU Green Deal package, and which was then further enhanced as part of the Repower EU plan and entered into force in October of 2023. This energy efficiency directive raises the EU's ambition to achieve higher energy efficiency by including, for example, the energy efficiency first principle. This principle requires that energy efficiency must be considered by EU countries in all the relevant policy and major investment decisions. The implementation of the Energy Efficiency Directive is a key measure of the EU to comply with the commitment of the COP28 Global Pledge to double the global rate of energy efficiency improvements from about 2% to over 4% by 2030. And however, the Energy Efficiency Directive, of course, also targets private organizations and especially organizations of high energy consumptions, which must, under certain conditions, conduct either regular energy audits or implement and maintain a certified energy management system. When we will come to the standardization part of today's presentation, I will, of course, also present you the standards relative to those two topics of energy audits and energy management systems. Now, despite policies, legislation that include aspects for driving energy efficiency improvements, there are still some barriers existing which have been identified by the International Energy Agency at a global level. and which includes, for example, a strong energy demand, and especially in sectors such as transport, industry, and building, as we also saw when we looked at the graph of the Luxembourg situation and final energy consumption. Then globally, there may be a lack of skilled workforce across the key energy efficiency occupations, including, for example, heating, ventilation, or air conditioning. Then we also have a limited investment, while energy efficiency investment are growing the fastest in emerging and developing countries. The major end-use investment, about 2/3, take place in China, the United States, and the European Union. And finally, the International Energy Agency also identifies another barrier to be the slow deployment of innovation. This can be due to different market barriers, also including the previously mentioned limited access to investment, but also, as an example, policies lagging the technological progress. As an example, worldwide, the use of air conditioners is increasing, but most of the air conditioners that are sold globally are well below the most efficient models that are available. In this context, standardization can act as a strategic enabler by tackling those different challenges. So, in fact, standards can help to alleviate the strong energy demand in sectors such as industry or transport through providing a recognized methodology for fields such as energy management and auditing. Then standards are globally accessible, and this can contribute to the skills development also in, for example, energy efficiency occupations. Then standards facilitate or can facilitate investment decisions as they provide credible and transparent methods for example, the economic or financial valuation of energy-related investments, but also for social or environmental, for example, value assessments of energy efficiency projects. And finally, standards on energy efficiency also usually support the cost efficiency thanks to reduced energy consumptions. And finally, standards have the capacity to drive energy efficiency innovation and technological progress, and also the fast deployment of such by providing references for best practices that are again accessible all around the world. Now, before we dive further into the different standards that exist at international and European level on energy efficiency, I want to introduce to you the two main committees on international and European level that develop such standards on energy efficiency. So on international level, we have the ISO committee TC 301, focusing on energy management and energy savings. Then, at European level, we have a joint technical committee of the two standardization organizations, CEN and CENELEC, GTC number 14. And this is the European equivalent to the ISO TC 301 on international level. So now for the following slides, whenever you will see standards that I present, starting with ISO plus reference of the standard, you will know that these standards have been developed by this ISO Technical Committee 301, while the standards on the next slide presented, starting their reference by EN, are European standards that have been developed by the European Joint Technical Committee between CEN and CENELEC number 14. Okay. So, in fact, energy efficiency standards cover various topics, various fields, starting on an international ISO standard that provides calculation methods for the energy efficiency and the energy consumptions variations at country, region, and city levels. This standard includes mainly three main parts. So first of all, the evaluation of structure effects in the variation of energy intensity, which tries to analyze if structural changes may have impacted the energy intensity variation. Then we have the calculation of energy efficiency indices, which measure the ratio of energy consumption to specific relevant data, which can be, for example, GDP, but also population or a certain area. Then we have a third part on the decomposition analysis of energy consumption variation, which asks at what are really the key drivers for the energy consumption variation. Now, we also have a few main standards on energy savings and efficiency, among which is, for example, ISO 50046, published in 2019. This international standard provides methods for predicting energy savings, and it is applicable to all kinds of energy performance improvement actions. Then ISO 50047 gives guidance on determining the energy savings in organizations. So this standard is to be applied on an organizational level. And finally, we have a European standard, EN 16212, which provides methods for the energy efficiency and savings calculations. There's also a set of standards existing for the energy performance measurement and its evaluation. All the standards that you will see on this slide are applicable at organizational level, so to organizations. So first of all, we have a standard which provides principles for energy data collection. This is a European standard and falls into the framework of implementing an energy measurement and monitoring plan. Then the international standard ISO 50015 provides guidance and principles for the measurement and the verification of energy performance of an organization. ISO 50006, recently published in 2023, gives guidance on using energy performance indicators and energy baselines to evaluate the energy performance of an organization. And finally, EN 16231, a European standard, gives guidance on energy efficiency benchmarking. And the methodology described in this standard can be used to compare the energy performance between, but also within entities. Now, maybe a very interesting topic, and including maybe one of the most known and also used as international standards in the field of energy management and efficiency, ISO 50001, is the main international standard for the implementation of energy management systems. This standard is as well referenced in the revised directive on energy efficiency of 2023, and a certification of an energy management system according to ISO 50001 is possible. Then ISO 50004 gives guidance or further guidance for the implementation, the maintenance, and the improvement of an ISO 50001 energy management system. So basically it helps to translate the requirements set out in ISO 50001 into more practical actions. ISO 50005 provides then guidelines for a phased implementation of an energy management system. So this can be especially interesting for maybe small or medium-sized organizations, as this phased implementation of an energy management system can actually support and also simplify the implementation. Now, still staying with the topic of energy management systems, we have the international standard ISO 50003, which provides the requirements for this time the bodies that provide the audit as well as the certification of the energy management system ISO 50001. And currently we also have two international standards under development in the framework of energy management systems. So first of all, a standard on achieving decarbonization within the implementation of an energy management system according to ISO 50001, and another standard under development provides guidance on developing an energy data collection plan, also within the framework of energy management systems. Another important topic, energy audits. So on this part, you see European standards, even though there are ISO standards existing also for energy audits. However, European standards are those that are currently referenced in the revised directive on energy efficiency of 2023. So in particular, it's the first part of the European series on energy audits that is referenced and which provides the general requirements for energy audits. However, the EN 16247 series also contains very specific parts that are applicable to different sectors such as buildings, processes or transport. And the last part, number 5, gives requirements for the competence of the energy auditors. Then, and especially at European level, we have standards that support the assessment of energy-related investments and projects. One standard is EN 17463 plus Amendment 1, which provides guidance on the valuation, the financial valuation of energy-related investments. Then we have standards recently initiated in its development on the values and benefits of decarbonization and energy performance actions, which basically allows to assess ex ante and verify also ex post the economic, but also the environmental and the social impacts of energy efficiency projects. So not focusing only on the financial impacts or aspects. In the field of energy services, we have two existing standards, one European one, 15,900, which provides main definitions and requirements for energy efficiency services. And then on international level, we have ISO 50007, which provides guidelines for the assessment, but also the improvement of the energy service to users. There is one European standard existing currently on energy performance contracts, and it provides minimum requirements for the establishment of such energy performance contracts. And then, of course, there are existing many other standards that have been developed by the ISO Technical Committee 301, but also the European Joint Technical Committee 14. But just to mention a few more examples or topics, there is, for example, a European standard existing on guarantees of origin related to energy that has recently been published. Then there are also two technical reports currently under development at ISO level on integrated district energy systems. Okay, so this was an introduction to some main standard topics, some main standards on European and international level developed by the two technical committees presented before. So again, in the standardization analysis that we have published, you will find even more standards. Yeah, and I want to refer again on our future information session, end of April, on energy efficiency and management and technical standardization, which tries to also present more in detail certain standards, to also make maybe more or which maybe also aims at linking further the standards to legislation such as the Energy Efficiency Directive.
So thank you for your participation for the quiz. I will just do a quick explanation on how to get involved in technical standardization in Luxembourg. So the good news is that it's open, it's accessible, and it's free of charge. So it is open to all socio-economic actors in Luxembourg, companies, public sectors, research bodies, and so yes, it's not reserved to a closed circle. So yes, registration is simple. Experts can register through the ILNAS form, as you can see here. And yes, if you want, I mean, once you're registered, you can then contribute directly into national, European, or international committees. So here, for the topic, the two technical committees we mentioned are ISO-TC 301 at international level and Senelec GTC 14 at European level. And to give you just a sense of scale, as of February 2026, we were 372 experts registered in the national registry with more than 1,000 registrations across technical committees. So this shows it is a growing community of professionals who want to anticipate change rather than just to react to it. So yes, getting involved in standardization means gaining early insight into future requirements, contributing to consensus-based solution, and ensuring that Luxembourg has expertise and it can reflect to tomorrow's standards. So to conclude, thank you very much for your attention and your active participation today. So if you like to stay connected, please just scan the QR code for the next webinar session that you have on the right here. And also, if you want to have a in-person information session on energy efficiency, then feel free to register on April 28th. If you're interested to buy standard, then you have the eShop there. And please do not forget to fulfill the satisfaction survey here because it helps us to improve our sessions and to better align future topics with your needs. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon.